Welcome to Raven Conversations. It's the place where you get all your news and information about the Washington National Guard and Washington Military Department. I am Joe Seamandel, the State Public Affairs Officer for the Washington National Guard. And welcome to our first video podcast, a little bit different platform for us. And you'll get me sometimes, you'll get Peter Chang sometimes, you'll get Jason Kreis on here as well. Just kind of a new format. We really hope you guys appreciate it. So today we're talking to Lieutenant Colonel Dan Wessman. He's the commander of the 156 Information Operations Battalion. Dan, can you hear us?
Yep, got you.
Perfect. Hey, just take some time and introduce the audience to you and kind of your career.
Oh, boy. All right. So, yeah, thanks. As Joe said, my name is Dan Wessman. I am an AGR here for the 56th Theater Information Operations Group and recently took command of the 156 Information Operations Battalion. By trade, I'm an infantryman, but I've been with the IO off and on roughly for the last 12 years. So, what else do you want to know, Joe?
So for a regular soldier in the Guard, how does one become an IO practitioner?
Yeah, absolutely. So an IO practitioner really is he's an effects coordinator, a fire support coordinator, if you will, for information, right? So whereas your fire support coordinator is integrating 155 and 81 millimeter and 105 millimeter howitzer rounds or whatever to yield effects on the battlefield, the information operations guy is coordinating psychological operations and civil affairs and electronic warfare and cyber and more to yield those same effects on the battlefield. So to become a successful IO practitioner, really it just takes a deep understanding of the military and of the capacity and capabilities that we have, an understanding of what the commander wants to achieve in the battle, and then just a little bit of creativity. We work in the gray. We work with things that can't be seen. So for some folks, that's hard to understand, hard to balance. But as long as you're a little bit creative and willing to trust that your actions are yielding effects, you can be a successful IO guy.
So for the 156, what are those missions, both state and federal, where you guys really, focus on your efforts during those drill weekends?
Yeah, so a typical drill weekend here, I'll take it back a little bit. So we do situational training exercises in our secure facility downstairs a couple times a year, where a team will come together and go through a scenario where they're doing exactly that. They're planning and executing various IO effects in support of whatever the scenario is. And so during the off drills, they're preparing their craft, they're working on their craft, they're working on product, they're learning more about the various information forces and studying up on various marketing techniques, various advertising and influence techniques, psychology, because the ultimate goal is to really mess with the adversary's mindset, to create ambiguity, confusion, or disillusionment in the mind of the enemy commander. So all this supports our various federal missions. Right now, we have a recurring deployment to Special Operations Joint Task Force Levant over in the CENTCOM AOR, and then we support a myriad of operations, exercises, and other activities in the Indo-PACOM AOR.
Nice. So it sounded kind of like you're looking for somebody who has a very diverse background. You mentioned advertising, marketing, and that kind of stuff. Is that kind of what you guys are looking for, really?
Yeah. So we have to strike a balance between what the ideal candidate would have mentally and what the military, trains us to do. So when you look to come to the IO, we have several feeder MOSs that we built into our system off the premise that if you have no other background, no other skill, the basic skills you develop through a career in one of these feeder MOSs will prepare you to come in at the ground level and then learn IO. So some of those feeders, the combat arms side, so infantry, armor, field artillery, etc. Communications and technical side, so either communications or cyber, and then the intelligence aspects, so your typical MI soldiers. From a military perspective, that's what we found is typically the best fit. But quite honestly, I've met several cooks who, by virtue of being guardsmen and having civilian careers, could be phenomenal IO practitioners. So, if you have a background in information security or in marketing and advertising, or in any of the creative aspects of the civilian market, you'd probably find a home here. We just have to figure out how to make you fit within the Army MOS structure.
So how does one go about getting into the unit? I mean, what do they need to know in order to meet a criteria, get into the unit, and actually become an IO practitioner?
Yeah, so I'm here every day. And then my battalion sergeant major is here every day as well. So feel free to reach out either to me or to Sergeant Major Josh Eaton to talk to us more. But really, what we'll do is we'll have a conversation with you. We'll look at your ERB or your RB and your last couple of evaluations, and we'll see how you would fit. If you have one of the MOSs that fit into our feeder MOS, it's a lot easier. We can just go through the standard G1 moves process and get you slotted in one of our positions. If you don't, it's a little trickier. We have to have conversations on the enlisted side because of the requirements. For officers, it is pretty easy. I will accept just about any MOS and work around it. But for the enlisted side, because of the feeder requirements, it's a little bit harder. But you can come in as a lateral, say, without the feeder requirements if we get it blessed off through the state sergeant major, and then you'll just have to get the training for one of those feeder MOSs. So you have to convert to that MOS and then start your IO training. But once you're here on a standard M-day schedule, it takes about 3 years start to finish to get all the training accomplished to be ready to deploy. A lot of folks do it a lot faster than that, and we have the money and the flexibility to send you to multiple schools and get you out on multiple overseas deployments for training and other activities to spin you up. But again, on the standard schedule, to be about 3 years.
So I think last question, and it gives you guys a chance to really brag about the unit. What makes you guys a unit that people want to go to?
It's fun. I mean, where else do you get to come up with creative solutions in the military to just screw with somebody's head, right? Like that's what we do every day. I pay guys to come in here and find the most devious and corrupt ways to mess with dudes' minds. I think that's fun, but I think bigger than that, and quite honestly, I'll talk to the whole of the group, right? When I say this, so whether it's my battalion or it's the military intelligence battalion or the SF guys, this group deploys. We do what the Army pays us to do. We have been doing it consistently since 2001. In fact, since 2001, so over the last 22 years, there may only be a handful of days where this organization didn't have someone deployed, right? So we are constantly in the fight, whether we're forward or we're back here. If we're back here, we're still in the fight because we're in our skiff downstairs supporting the fight forward. So those, to me, those are the biggest things, right? We're doing it every day, and it's fun. I mean, I don't roll around in the mud anymore. I'm a little too old for that, but I get to use my brain every day on finding ways to really mess with people.
Nice. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on the show real quick just to talk about 156. It's a great unit. I've been part of it in the past, and always happy to talk to my IO brethren there.
Yeah, thank you. And again, if anybody does want to talk more about coming over, I'll absolutely talk to them
100%.
anytime. Just give me a call. And Joe and Pete, just let me know when you guys are ready to come back.
Sounds good.